Hey guys, and welcome to Gwent, the Witcher card game. My name is Jaggerous, and today I have a silly Nilfgaard deck guide for you. Have you ever wondered what would happen if you could just use your opponent's deck against them? Well, with Copycat Emhyr, we have the answer. And this idea was actually based on a Reddit post I saw today by a user called Tingin, who posted a screenshot of basically a deck where they'd gone against monsters and clearly use the monsters cards against your opponent. And I guess the way you do that is with the Vicavaro Medic. So that's what I've kind of come up with here. So the objective of this deck is to play the Vicavaro Medics as many times as we can. So we want to play as many Vicavaro Medics as we can. So the way we do that, we have our 3 Vicavaro Medics. We can also put them back in our hand and replay them with Emhyr. We can also put them back in our hand and replay them with Cahir. We can also decoy them. So then we can play them another time. And we can also use Assire to shuffle them back into our deck so that we can play them again. Alternatively, we could shuffle, the opponent's card that we stole back into our deck and play them again. So that is the gist of the deck. On top of that, we have Vilgefortz, which we can use to get bronze cards out of our graveyard. So if we do put cards back in, we can try and find them with that. Tibor is a really nice point swing. Then we have Avallac'h, which allows us to draw cards. So these are our kind of deck thinning options so that we can actually find our Vicavaro Medics and also so that we can get the cards if we put them back in with Assire. On top of that, for deck thinning, we have Canterella and we have 3 Imperial Golems, which is, I don't know if Imperial Golems is 100% right for this deck because obviously Emhyr, you're not typically using him on the first turn, so you have to be a bit careful with them in terms of drawing. But ultimately, I feel like these are, not a bad choice. We also have Swears. We can actually use Swears to put our opponent's cards in their graveyard in order to allow us to use Vicavaro Medic on the first turn. Swears, you basically choose an enemy or reveal the opposing unit and move all copies of it from the opponent's deck to their graveyard. On top of that, we have Peter, which we can use to reset cards. We have a couple weather clears. We obviously have our Vicavaro Medics. We have Orcs, which allows us to just lock some units, which is usually quite useful. 3 Rot Tossers as a way of killing our opponent's cards. 3 Emissaries, which will allow us to thin the deck and also help us find our Vicavaro Medics. A Lacerate, and obviously Canterella. So this is the deck, and if you like this deck, hit that thumbs up button. It's a bit of a fun deck to play. It's not the most successful deck, but, it can be amusing, and I have won with this deck previously. So, like I say, hit that thumbs up button, and without further ado, I'm going to jump into a casual game.
There will be no negotiation.
The North shall tuck tail and beg for mercy.
Okay, so we're up against Ithne, and if this is dwarves, it's going to make our life a little bit difficult, because it's hard to steal a unit if you can't kill it. In terms of the mulligan, obviously we're getting rid of Golems. Looking for Vicavaro Medics is nice. Rot Tossers are nice. Emissaries are okay, but you risk drawing Golems with them early on. Swears is actually not too bad, because we can maybe discard some of her dwarfs. So we'll mulligan an Emissary here. We got Cahir, which is a worthwhile mulligan. Hopefully we don't go first. Going first is a little bit awkward, because we don't really want to play, our Rot Tosser yet. We don't really want to play our Vicavaro Medics yet. So this one is definitely more of a reactive deck. We'd rather she played a unit and then we can maybe Swears or we can Rot Tosser it, for example, and start to kind of cause some trouble. That's the kind of gist of the deck. One thing we can obviously do is we can actually replay cards like Swears and that as well, which is pretty nice. So then if she plays something else, we can, we can replay Swears and deal with that. The thing is, typically what they open with is, if they have it Yarpen. Oh, that works Dennis as well. So yeah, this is definitely dwarves. So we'll throw out our Rot Tosser. What this generally encourages our opponent to do, though, is it just encourages our opponent to move their dwarf more than anything. Because often they have the dwarfs which allow you to move your current dwarfs. The double lock is really good in this situation. Unfortunately, we haven't seen Peter, which is also good against this deck. But we can maybe find him with Avallac'h. There it goes. And then inevitably they move him. So we can make her discard all of these from her deck. We have the Decoy, so we can always replay Swears. So potentially we just, thin our opponent. Yep, she doesn't have any more of those, so that's good. And we just put them both in the graveyard. So now we can actually, resurrect them ourselves should we want to start moving allies around the board. That's an option. And if she plays another dwarf, we can always Swears it. And again, we're just discarding her cards, which is actually a really good strategy. If you just thin all of the bronze cards out of the deck, like sure, they'll have, silvers and golds, but you need more than just silvers and golds to win the game, I think. Like, silvers and golds are powerful, but they're generally more reactive. The other thing we can always do here is we can put, either of these back in our deck. So this is the situation with this deck, is it's really nice because these allow you to target silver cards as well as bronze cards, so you can basically replay all of your silver cards. We also have a double lock, so any carryover that she's going to have isn't going to work.
Have strength, my love.
No dwarfs yet. Interesting. There's the Thunderbolt Potion. So again, we should probably look to thin units out of her deck. We could potentially decoy the Swears. I know I said that we were going to resurrect her cards, but this is actually almost too good to pass up on. So if we decoy Swears and play him again and target this, she's got 1, so we'll discard that as well. And then we can pull an Elven Merc, which we can use to get the Lacerate out of our deck, should we want to find the Lacerate. And then we can Emhyr, which will actually thin the Rot Tossers out.
The North shall tuck tail and beg for
Take
mercy.
Swears back. Oh my god, this is just, we're just swearing this deck.
Come on, stalkers. We ride.
She's got 1. Okay, so she's got 1 more Mahakam Defender in her deck. So that's good to know. Basically, we know now what's kind of in here. And now we can start resurrecting things. So we'll definitely resurrect the Mahakam Defender. The thing is, we want to do the multiple Swears before we look to do the... we want to do the multiple Swears before we look to do the... before we look to do the...
Shame I have no time.
Avallac'h, because then we've thinned their deck, which is really nice. We can set this up to kill these. I could have put it in the back row, to be honest. That's also an option. The other thing we can do is we can Cahir. We could have Cahir. The thing is, these going on the middle row is actually quite good for him because the 2s are now protecting them. But we maybe could have gone for the back row. That would have maybe been smarter and tried to kill the 11. But then I still think he would have moved the units, so it is what it is. The other thing we can do is obviously move our graveyard cards back into our deck, which is quite nice. I'm not convinced we're going to win this one, but we need to unlock these, so we basically need to force our opponent to... we want to force our opponent to pass, and once she's passed, we can then use Orcs on the 2 defenders. It's not a bad strategy at all. This is the thing with the Rot Tossers, is they don't work that well against Dwarves, because Dwarves can move their units a lot, although that's all of the unit moving I think she can do, because we discarded her moving units, basically.
Have strength, my love.
That's her last Elven Merc. So the slight problem we have is that we've thinned her deck for her, which is not so good. But at the same time, we can always resurrect some Mahakam Defenders on the next turn and use those to win us the round, so that's probably what we'll go for. Let's draw some cards for the time being.
We'll see it in your dream.
Nausicaa and Vilgefortz. Okay, so Vilgefortz we can burn up a unit and then that'll play another card from our deck. Like I say, we're just kind of waiting to see what she does here. The problem is I might have given her Ithlinay, and if I've given her Ithlinay, life is not so good. But we can always Orcs Cahir, so that's not too bad. So potentially we go for the Orcs now, because we can always replay it. The other thing we could do is burn one of these 3 cards with Vilgefortz, but I don't know how worthwhile that is. Potentially I think we hold off on that. Alright, let's Orcs for now.
Who is to die?
It's not a bad plan. So then we'll unlock these 2. It means if she does relock units, we can always Orcs again. She maybe doesn't realize we have Cahir in hand, so it feels safe to like start protecting units. Because that's the gist of Dwarves, is you play a lot of points and then you carry them over to the next round. Cards that aren't so useful this round. Assire's not so useful this round. Ideally, we want to hold our Vicavaro Medic and Cahir till the next round, so that we can resurrect some of these dwarfs. We could Vilgefortz still. This is the thing. We can destroy one of their cards. I mean, they draw a bronze card, but ultimately, I don't know how many bronze cards she's going to have left in her deck. And if we do give her a bronze card, it's better than her having, you know, 20 million points of carryover. So this is the thing. A lot of people use Vilgefortz for their own cards, but sometimes it's actually not too bad to use it on an opponent instead. Marching Orders pulls nothing. Well, that's painful, right? We'll just Nausicaa. We'll boost our defender. We get a bit more carryover there. And honestly, actually, if she passes, we probably just pass. And then, you know, resurrect some more carryover. I don't think she's going to pass, though. Typically, dwarves want you to pass. That's the kind of idea.
Nigh is the time.
There's Ithlane. So now we can replay Orcs, basically. And she's going to play Adrenaline Rush here. And there's a lock. And there's a lock. But she can always... The problem is she can also Ithne a lock. Which means that she can still carry over, like, units. Which is kind of a problem. But if we Vilgefort's the big one, then that's actually not a bad strategy.
Quite the menial task.
And hopefully she doesn't have any bronze cards left in the deck, because we have thinned her deck quite considerably. She did shed Lightning Potion. It is what it is, or Thunderbolt Potion. I think in this situation that's not a bad trade. And then we can Cahir the Orcs and remove her carryover. Though she will probably just play... She will probably just play...
As you wish.
She will probably just play her leader into another lock, unfortunately.
Sometimes I've had about enough.
Oh shit, that doesn't... Because it was already locked, that doesn't do what I thought it did. Oh. Learning from my mistakes, you guys. Because it was locked, it doesn't remove the resilience, it just unlocks it. I'm an idiot. We have misplayed. We are only 2 points behind her here, though. We can possibly dilute her hand with Elven Mercs. I wouldn't put potions back in, but we could always put an Elven Merc back in our deck. We could put Decoy back in ours. Don't know if it's going to be enough. I feel like she's going all in on this situation. Oh, who has the most units? Apparently, I do. $68 versus 55. I guess we just keep going. So we'll put Decoy back in my deck. And then, how many cards do I get to pick? 2. Elven Merc. I probably should have put both Elven Mercs back in her deck, but never mind. What is this? Lightning Potion, Immune Boost. Probably Lightning Potion, I would have thought. She's already played 2. Oh, Commander's Horn. She's going to resurrect her carryover is the thing. So I think we're kind of fucked here. Because I'm going to have to catch 18 on the next round. And she can just resurrect her carryover is the thing and take it to the next round. So this is kind of... It's not a great matchup for us because we didn't have an Igni. We played our Orcs twice and we also didn't draw Peter. If we had Peter, life would be a bit better. Because she can just, like, replay her carryover there, basically. Okay, we can decoy our Vicavaro Medic, so we can get carryover for ourselves. But I don't know if it's going to be enough points. Emissary can pull us... Well, we'll mulligan the Emissary, I think. Canterella. Oh, not a great pick at all. I assume she's going to try and 2-0 us. The smart play would be to Adrenaline Rush or 18, you know?
Let's hurry.
There's Saskia. There's
There will be
Ithne.
no negotiation.
And probably Adrenaline Rush. If you go Thunderbolt Potion, you're an idiot. Like, this is a much safer strategy. She doesn't know what she wants. She can actually marching orders. I put units back in her deck. But maybe she drew an Elven Merc. Yeah, that's the smart play. Unfortunately for us. I don't think we can catch 30 in 2 cards, unfortunately, so let's just do this. What else can we have? An Emissary, which is going to give us a Rot Tosser, a Vicavaro Medic. Oh, a Rot Tosser would be huge here. But there's too much other stuff, which we risk pulling, unfortunately.
Everything all right?
Oh, she does have special cards. What do you have? Rally. Do you have any? I don't think you have any more bronze units. Yeah, she has no more cards. Okay, shit. So she's going to go for the 2-0 here. Play this in the back row.
Your humble servant.
Rot Tosser. Oh, and I can decoy it! I can decoy the Rot Tosser. And try and kill the 10 as well. And if I kill the 10, that's 28 points. And then Vicavaro something and hopefully win. I don't know. We're in an awkward position. That was the smart choice. But we can kill both of these as well. Let me work this out. So if we decoy this, these are the same amount of points, so it doesn't really matter. I don't think I'm going to get enough points here, but we'll try. She's going to draw no more cards. So if this works out, this could be huge. I haven't done the maths though. She's going to be on... She's going to lose 11 points, so she's going to be on 22. Oh, I think we win! Look at this! Look at this. I guess we pull an 8, right? Because then we carry it to the next round. She doesn't have any cards either way. But then if we pull something that's not great. I think this is enough points. And then she loses 11. Hey! Oh, the Rot Toss is putting in work! And you've got no more cards in your deck! Oh my gosh, that was such a mess, you guys. That was such a mess. It was a really fun mess, but it was such a mess. Also, if you want to see your opponent's deck, it's right here. We don't even need to play what we draw. Nausicaa. A Nausicaa. I want to draw Tibble. Give me Tibble. Oh man, Tibble would have been hilarious there, because we could have just played Tibble, and we could have just played Tibble and like gotten 23 points. She would have drawn nothing. It would have been a bit of a slap in the face, to be honest. Anyway, guys, that is the Copycat deck. I'm going to jump into another game, and I'll showcase this deck in action once more for you.
Onward, sons of Nilfgaard!
The North shall tuck tail and beg for mercy.
Okay, so we're up against John Calvé, which usually means spies. It might be Nilfgaard, which would make our life kind of interesting, because obviously we've got milling as well. Though we do also have our good friend Assire to help us out. 2 Rot Tossers. We don't probably need our Nausicaa Standard Bearer. 3 Rot Tossers. Ain't no party like a Rot Tosser party, because a Rot Tosser party got Rot Tossers. Right, play some cards, please. Oh, we don't have Swears. Swears is nice for, like, milling your opponent. The good news, actually, is we have all of our Rot Tossers in hand, so Swears won't hit our Rot Tosser, and we have most of our emissaries in hand, so Swears won't hit our emissary. So that's pretty good.
Yield and save me some time.
Siri dash into Roach. That's not ideal. I guess we just Rot Tosser to the back row. I imagine they are probably also playing a reactive deck, so because they're playing a reactive deck, it's just something that's worth being aware of.
I forgive you. This time.
I can actually Emhyr my Rot Tosser and play it again. This is the thing, like, you don't have to go with the Vicavaro Medics, but you can. They're quite good. Lacerate. You're going to do 3 damage to my Rot Tosser. Oh no. Potentially we Emhyr our Rot Tosser. Or we decoy it. But then he knows that we have Emhyr, whereas this will also thin our deck of Golems, which is quite nice. So let's do that.
Patience is not a virtue.
And then what we can do with the Rot Tosser is actually we can... what we can do with the Rot Tosser is we can then play an emissary on the front row, and that then Spy will also get burned up by the... will also get burned up by the Cow Carcass. Although I just realized he can't swear as my emissary because it would be on his side of the board.
What is it? Quiet, or the commissar will hear.
So let's see what we pull. The thing is, if we pull a Vicavaro, that's not going to be so good. If we get 2 Vicavaros, you know.
A shame I have no time.
Yeah, see, this is where things fuck up because there's nothing to resurrect because we haven't killed any of these yet. We can always put him back in our hand. Oh no, we can't. I was gonna say we could put him back in our hand with Cahir, but we don't have Cahir. So he's gonna lose 8 points from the Rot Tosser, which is pretty good.
I shall be your eyes, my lord.
Canterella. Do we pass here? I don't think we pass. We're on the same number of cards, right? This is not where you pass. We could mill him with our T-board, but I think he's going to mill himself. So potentially we don't need to mill him. I think this is the mill deck.
Greetings. What is it?
This is interesting strategy. So he's obviously not worried about the Rot Tosser.
Off to the front yet again.
We can also Rot Toss the front row. So maybe we do that. There you go. Rot Tosses for everyone. Unless he Orcs them. Because this is not a bad deck to play Orcs against. It's probably going to be Orcs. Oh, Nausicaa Brigade. That's clever. There's a clever play there because he's actually protected both rows. This guy's actually a 7, in case you weren't sure. We can decoy. We can decoy our Rot Tosser. and just keep throwing cows at him. This was not the intended plan for the deck, but it's not working too badly. The risk is we get another Vicavaro Medic if we play this. I don't really want another Vicavaro Medic at the moment. I'm going to decoy the Rot Tosser. He must be so bored of them by now. Like, I would be really bored of this. I'll put this here. And everybody's happy. If he has orcs, he would play it, right? That's what I'm thinking. He's going to decoy it to... He's going to put it in the back row. We can orcs it, so it's not really a problem. To be honest, I don't know what he's going to play that I need to orcs, so potentially orcsing this is not too bad, because then at least we keep the points. We could Vilgefortz it as well.
Who is to die?
We'll lock this one and this one. You want to hit one of these because it does 1 damage, so then it would like negatively impact your cow carcass. He really wants this round. It's cute. Like, he really, really wants this round. What's in here? Nothing. See, this is the thing, like, Assire, we can't put anything back in our deck, and I feel like for this matchup we probably do want to do that. Potentially we pass here. If he doesn't stop the Rot Tosser from triggering, we probably want to pass here. Because if he doesn't stop the Rot Tosser, we're gaining 18 points, yeah, and there's the pass. He's 1 card up, but, you know, we're in a pretty nice spot, I think. Potentially we just dry pass here. That'll help us with the card differential. It means there's fewer things in the graveyard for us to draw, but, you know, I think that's okay. Vicavaro and an Emissary. We probably mulligan one of the Emissaries and try and find one of these better cards, basically. Vicavaro Medic. That's not amazing, but not terrible. Yeah, I think we just pass here. So he probably wants to mill. I'm thinking this is a mill deck. But I think we have the cards that we need to stop him from milling us too badly. This Copycat deck is working out surprisingly well. You just throw Rot Tossers at people, and if that doesn't work, you just steal their cards. Like, what more could you want? Put their cards to the graveyard, and then take their cards. Swears would have been nice.
Asks, you've not seen me.
I wonder if he's gonna thin his deck. If he has a foot soldier, he'll thin it, because he's trying to find Ciri dash. So we can take his spotters. That's something that we can do. I'm just wondering what he's got left in terms of bronze cards. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now, typically you have 15 bronze cards, so that's worth being aware of. What did we draw? Nausicaa. Right, Nausicaa can go back in. Emissary. So these are basically just going to draw us Nausicaa's. If we draw Nausicaa's here, it's actually fine, because we can put cards back in our deck. We can put the Rot Tossers back in our deck with the Seer, and that will make our life a bit more interesting. So let's do that for now.
If magic dies, this world dies with it.
Rot Tossers, where are you? There you are. And he's not played any of these, so this isn't too much of a problem for us. And the thing is, if he mills all his cards, we get really good value out of Vilgefortz and Tibor. Is that what's left in his deck? Maybe. If he sacks the row, we can Emissary it, so... Or we can Rot Tosser it. I'm just thinking, what do I want to resurrect from his deck? It's nothing super great. I guess we could start resurrecting some alchemists. Because by taking the alchemist, what we can then do is, you know, just have a look at his cards. So there, he's got Ciri dash. That's not to be, like, that's not really surprising. I'm hoping he actually does thin all his cards with the Golems, because then I can actually Rot Tosser him.
What is it?
Oh, he's putting cards back in his deck. Roach. And... Roach is not a silver card, though. Sorry, Roach is not a bronze card. Roach and... He gave me a Rot Tosser. That's totally fine, buddy. That's totally fine. I guess we could Canterella. Let's see what we draw.
Let us see.
We don't want that. That'll go to the bottom of the deck. That is better. That is better. So now we can replay. We can replay certain cards we might need to, such as the Assire if we need her. He should have put that on the back row. Like, that was a mistake. And he should feel regretful about it. I know Roach is in here. One of those cards is Roach. Let's just Vicavaro Medic for now.
A highly curious
Into a Spotter. Oh, sorry, Alchemist.
If anyone asks,
We'll have a wee look at his
you've not
cards.
seen me.
There's Peter. Okay, we're not buffing anything too large, so this should be fine. And then if this pulls the last Pikeman, which hopefully it will, then what we can do is we can then play Tibor for free. And we can also Vilgefortz one of his cards for free. Because they both make you draw... Oh no, wait, this he would draw a bronze card. Thanks for the Rot Tosser, buddy. But he put them back in my deck. Like, that's what I don't understand. Like, he purposefully put them back in my deck.
Sometimes I've had about enough.
And then he's like, oh, but I've got orcs. Waha! You'll never suspect this. It's like, buddy, I have 2 more Rot Tossers in my deck that I can 100% find with these 2 emissaries. So, you know, good luck with that. Oh, but I just realized this one's not gonna... Like, it's locked. I see. But I could Vilgefortz it. If I Vilgefortz it, it's unlocked. Or we just throw one on the front row. Let's just throw one on the front row for now.
A shame I have no time.
We can also, you know, Cahir a Rot Tosser. That's worth being... Oh, middle row, sorry. That's worth being aware of. So we could Vilgefortz this one. But we may as well just Vilgefortz one of his big cards, right? That's the sensible thing to do. Our own Tibor, he's not going to draw anything, so that's just 23 points.
Ho ho, I sense trouble.
So let's just play the Nausicaa. For Nausicaa! Although I just realized he can reset me, so this isn't the best pick. So he's just going to reset the boost. So I maybe should have waited with that, actually. And just Cahir'd. But yeah, so let me work this out. This would be 15 points. Or we can...
I care for them.
Oh, he's protected the orcs. Okay, let me work out exactly the best play here. So what we can do... We can Vilgefortz the Cow Carcass. And then Rot Tosser for 15. And then Rot Tosser for... Oh no, that's too many turns, I think. I think that's too many turns. Or we Vilgefortz the 13, Rot Tosser for 7. And then Rot Tosser for 2. See, the worst part here is maths. Okay, so how many turns do we have and how many turns do we need? We Rot Tosser the back row, Vilgefortz that, and then that should probably work. So let's do it like that.
Your humble servant.
So let's do that. And then we can Vilgefortz the 1. Rot Tosser will then kill all of those. Then we can Rot Tosser the back row again. The strongest unit's on his side of the board. Ha! Okay, you've totally fucked yourself here, buddy.
You mistake stars reflected in a pond for the night sky.
Oh shit, I needed to play Tibor there. Oh, I misplayed. I needed to play Tibor there. Fuck. I'm only getting 8 from Tibor. Because he's passing. This will probably still be enough, though. Because the 13's dead from this.
As you wish.
What do we want to replay? I guess we replay a Rot Tosser kill is 7. I did misplay my Tibor, though. That was kind of silly. I feel like this did not go the way he intended it to go. So we're removing 20 points from him. So I think we still win. By 2. I think we win by 2, is my understanding of how this works. He burns his 13. I kill his 7. And then I win by 2. Oh dear. This is... I don't know why this deck is working. It's just like you just throw cows at them or you steal their cards. Those are your 2 win conditions. And nobody knows how to play against it because it's not a deck that anyone actually plays. So it's pretty fun. But yeah, this is the Copycat Emhyr deck. It's... The thing I really like about it is that it's a different deck every time you play it, if that makes sense. Like, because it's always depending on what your opponent's deck is playing for the Vicavaro Medics, it's a completely different play style every time, which means it doesn't get boring that quickly because you're just kind of, you know, you're basically figuring out how the deck plays against each opponent every time you play against your opponent. So it's very different every time, which means it doesn't get repetitive, which I like about it. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below of the Copycat Emhyr deck. If you enjoyed this deck video, hit that thumbs up button. Beyond that, you can catch me live streaming on Twitch, twitch.tv/Jaggerous, and on Twitter @Jaggerous. And if you enjoy the channel, maybe subscribe. Have a fantastic day. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you in the next video. Bye!